Start the webinar now.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Muy buenas tardes a todos. Muchas gracias por estar con nosotros esta tarde. You are at the right place. We are having our MacArthur Park Community Schools Town Hall. We're about to begin. Están en el lugar donde debemos estar todos. Gracias. Vamos a comenzar esta sesión del Foro Comunitario de MacArthur Park. Next slide. So once again, welcome everybody, and we're about to get started. It is with great pleasure that we welcome you to Local District Central's virtual town hall for the MacArthur Park Community Schools. Es un placer darle la bienvenida al Foro Comunitario del Distrito Local Central para la Comunidad de Escuelas de MacArthur Park. Before starting, I'd like to inform you that this town hall will be presented in English and will have simultaneous Spanish interpretation. To listen to this presentation in Spanish, you would need to click on the language option on the world icon you see on the bottom of your screen and will select Spanish to begin. If your device does not have access to interpretation, you can download the Zoom app to get that feature. Antes de comenzar, le informamos que este foro será presentado en inglés y tendremos interpretación simultánea en español. Para escuchar en español, oprima el símbolo del mundo y podrá ver el icono que indica español en su pantalla para poder empezar. Si su dispositivo no tiene acceso a la interpretación, puede accederla bajando la aplicación Zoom en su teléfono. Next slide. So I'd like to review some important points so we can all have an understanding of how to participate during today's session. During this virtual town hall, you will have an opportunity to ask questions of our panelists during the presentation. On your screen, you will see a Q&A icon and can type in your questions. Also, at the conclusion of this presentation, we will have panelists respond to as many questions as time permits. Also, we are being video recorded for YouTube at this time, and this video recording will be uploaded to the Community Schools for MacArthur Park's website. And now we're going to be ready to begin. Our next slide, and without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mrs. Frances Baez, our equity warrior from Local District Central, our superintendent. Mrs. Baez, the floor is yours and welcome.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sarreguin. My name is Frances Baez, Superintendent in Local District Central, the home of the champions. And we are here offering this fabulous town hall led and directed by Dr. Smith, our own champion community of school administrator and his team. What I want to say to you today is, number one, thank you for continuing to support learning. I thank our principals, our teachers, our school personnel, and every single one of our schools. And I thank our parents for all that they're doing to support their children. As we visit our school sites, we're seeing that things are stabilizing. There's more routines, there's more continuity, more predictability. Our students are thriving in this environment. In Local District Central, we are the home of one of the champion robotics teams that are actually going to be competing in the world competition very soon in Houston, Texas. In Local District Central, we're also a home of the champions in cheer, and our Miguel Contreras Learning Center cheerleaders recently won a championship, and we're very proud of them. We are also excelling in academics, and we're also excelling in the arts. And so there's much to be proud of. Just a year ago, we weren't able to share these type of news, but it's with everyone's support and effort to ensure safety in our schools, that our students can come to classrooms every day and our teachers can teach rigorous lessons. Now, with that said, there has been some decline in learning, so we all have to work together so this continuity and momentum continues, so that we catch up and support our students in learning. The month of March brings the Women's History Month, and we're proud of the accomplishments of all the women leaders and all the young girls who are breaking the ceilings when it comes to fields that are underrepresented by women. We're seeing that there's more young girls and women in the robotics and STEAM fields, and that's been one of our goals that we've been working towards. We're proud of all of the women in our homes, our tias, our abuelas, our moms, our grandmothers, our caretakers. Thank you all for being the wind beneath our wing, who support us and help us to continue doing what we do to help us reach our goals. In this month, we also celebrate all of our counselors and all that they do for us. We are working hard to ensure that our students are completing their FAFSA, that their financial aid forms, so that students are prepared to go to college. So even if they plan to go to a community college, they need to also complete that application now and ensure that they have options when the time comes to make a decision about where to go. So between March and June, it's all about supporting our students in their transitions, whether it's early education to kindergarten, elementary to middle, middle to high school to college. These transitions are valuable. So this is the time when we're holding your hand to ensure that you don't get lost in those transitions. We want to make sure that we hand you off from high school to college and ensure that you have a counselor there, that you have someone to go to support you as you pursue the next journey of your life. And so with that said, thank you, Dr. Smith. I hope you have a fabulous town hall. Thank you for providing such robust information during this session. And thanks to all of our parents who are viewing, those that are viewing on YouTube, or those that are viewing via recorded messages. Thank you for being here today, and I'm handing it back to you. Oh, no, maybe not. I think at this point, I'm going to be introducing a representative for Board District 2 from Monica Garcia's office, Ms. Jennifer Valdivia. Thank you so much for being with us today. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Superintendent Baez and Dr. Smith, for creating this space for our students and families month after month. My name is Jennifer Valdivia. I am Director of External Affairs for Board Member Monica Garcia. And I'm so happy to be here with you all on behalf of the board member and all of the BD2 team. Happy Women's History Month and Social Work Month, excuse me. As our superintendent just stated, we want to lift all of the contributions and work of women and our counselors. I hope that you are all adjusting to the new time change very well, spring forward, and we love spring and all of the wonderful opportunities that come with this season. And as we begin to think about this last semester of the school year, and yes, graduation and beyond for many of our seniors, I want you to know that the entire Board District 2 team is proud of all of our students, the staff and families who have shown up every day and for showing up every day. We know it's been a challenge. And I just want to echo the sentiments of Superintendent Baez that we are seeing brighter days ahead. We know that there have been struggles along the way, and together we have persevered. And I just think it shows the spirit and strength of LA Unified. And I'm excited for the information that will be shared today with the team. But as always, you can reach our office at 213-241-6180, and I will go ahead and drop that information in the chat. So kicking it off, back to you all.
Thank you, Superintendent Baez. Thank you, Jennifer Valdivia. I appreciate both of your kind words and welcoming the MacArthur Park community to our town hall meeting. I am Dr. Smith, the proud Communities of School Administrator for the MacArthur Park Communities of Schools, and I bring you greetings and I say thank you for joining us this evening and welcome to our March Town Hall. I would like to take a moment again, as Superintendent Baez already mentioned, to thank you again for your patience and flexibility this school year as we are making positive steps towards our future, which will lead to our students' academic success ultimately. During the month of January, we transitioned back to school, continuing with progressive steps against COVID-19. In February, we began to see a brighter day as the COVID rates began to decline, and we, as a school district, had the opportunity to welcome our new LA Unified Superintendent, Mr. Alberto Carvalho. During Superintendent Carvalho's first days, he visited several schools and was welcomed with open arms by the Los Angeles community. I ask that you please join me in welcoming Superintendent Carvalho to LA Unified and to the MacArthur Park community. And when time permits, please review his 100-day plan, which speaks to the work during the first days as our new superintendent. As we continue to move forward, I would like to extend appreciation to our schools who went above and beyond in celebration of our Read Across America, open and kicking it off in the month, who brought such joy to see our students experiencing love and joy of adventure through reading books. Lastly, as we celebrate the month of March, I want to encourage you with your celebrations in honor of Women's History Month. As you know, students benefit greatly when we exhibit diversity and honor the history and contributions of the amazing women who throughout history have made positive impact on our society. Additionally, our students benefit from seeing themselves represented in positive ways, positive and diverse ways, specifically our young girls and our young ladies. I challenge you to continue to seek knowledge, history, and perspective year-round, not just in the month of March, and continue to seek opportunities to acknowledge the many contributions made by powerful women throughout history. Tonight, we will spend some time celebrating women, particularly the women in MacArthur Park, while sharing some important information and provide answers to questions you may have. I ask that you utilize the question and answer feature so that we may respond directly to the questions that you may have. Thank you again for joining us, and I hope that you find the information shared tonight to be informative and useful. And modeling, I know February was Black History Month, and as we model celebrating history from around the world and our cultures here in the MacArthur Park, we're going to share, next slide, MacArthur Park Visual and Performing Arts would like to share Lift Every Voice and Sing the Black National Anthem with us tonight. Please enjoy. Thank you to the students, families, and the principal, Ms. Ortega at MacArthur Park VAPA, for sharing Lift Every Voice and Sing with us as we begin our meeting tonight. Tonight's agenda, as I mentioned earlier, we will celebrate Women in History Month, but particularly celebrating some of the women in leadership right here in the MacArthur Park communities of schools. And secondly, we will have a school presentation from Commonwealth, where Principal Ortiz will share the intervention plan and how he plans to continue to close the gap, accelerate learning within his school community. We will also share safe steps to safe schools, remind us of some of the protocols as we continue to fight COVID-19 and keep our students safe on our campuses. We will also have instructional updates where you'll hear some of the information and receive some suggestions on how to assist your child at home. We will celebrate our social workers in our schools with our mental health updates. And then we will share important information with you as well. So please hang tight, kick off your shoes, relax, sit back, and enjoy this time with us as we share the good news in MacArthur Park. I invite Ms. Tricia Ferris to join us as we begin our celebration of Women's History Month. Ms. Ferris, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Throughout Women's History Month, we celebrate the contributions of women. While it's important to celebrate women's history during the other 11 months too, during March, we can remember the sacrifices made by women for women to help make the world and our country a more inclusive place. We asked our MacArthur Park women leaders to tell us about the women in their lives who inspired them to become courageous leaders. And we're going to take a moment to hear from them now.
Hi, my name is Fanny Gonzalez, and I am the proud principal of the academic leadership community at Miguel Contreras. My mother, women principal colleagues, and scholar women have inspired me to be a leader. They always have words of encouragement and wisdom to keep me going. I would like to thank them for serving as role models in my life and inspiring me to be a better leader and woman. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jemima Galliano, and I am the proud principal at Gratz Learning Academy for Young Scholars. As a Guatemalan native, an English language learner, and also a product of LAUSD, it is a great pleasure and honor to service the scholars and parents of the MacArthur community area. Have a wonderful afternoon.
My name is Victoria Rodriguez, and I am the APG advisor for MacArthur Park Communities of Schools. One of the women leaders that I have worked with over the years is Dr. Chang, an assistant principal at Santee Education Complex. She has taught me the value of patience and trust when building a school staff, and she has also taught me the importance of always having a positive attitude as you work towards your school's goals.
My name is Dr. Eleanor Murray, proud assistant principal of John Lately Middle School. When I think of two women who have really impacted my life as a leader, I would say it's my maternal grandmother, Stella Delph, and my mother, Dulcie Murray. My grandparents immigrated with 5 children from Georgetown, Guyana, to the United States for them to have a better life. My grandmother was a nurse and a midwife in Guyana, where she really helped the community and supported those in need. She demonstrated her leadership skills as a community leader to help those in need. Whereas my mother was an administrative assistant for a radiology department, where she demonstrated her role as a leader in making sure that the doctor's needs were met and that everything was organized and structured for the office to run smoothly. Two things that they actually taught me was to have a sense of purpose and always strive to be the best. And as a leader in education and as a woman, those are two characteristics that I've demonstrated throughout my field in education, as having a sense of purpose and striving to be the best, so that I can always demonstrate those skills that has manifested itself into leadership qualities. And so I thank you today for having the opportunity to share the women who have impacted my life.
Thank you so much to our women in leadership right here in MacArthur Park Communities of Schools. I thank Ms. Ferris for putting that together for us. It just warms my heart to see that I have the opportunity to work alongside such powerful and strong, passionate leaders right here in the MacArthur Park Communities of Schools. So thank you again. Thank you for sharing your stories and what inspires you most. At this time, I would like to begin with our school presentation for this evening. We have one of our principals, our very own principals, returning back to us, not just to talk about his school specifically, but to talk about the interventions that are in place at his school as he continues to accelerate learning at the Commonwealth Elementary School in Magnet. Please welcome Mr. Javier Ortiz, the proud principal at Commonwealth Elementary School and Magnet School. Mr. Ortiz, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, and definitely want to make the transition as we celebrate Women's History. And with that in mind, I want to mention my mother, my wife, my wonderful daughters who make a difference in my life. So now moving forward, when I talk about Commonwealth Avenue Elementary School and the interventions that we're providing now, the plan that we have of action to support our students, post-pandemic. If we could please go to the next slide. So we have in-classroom intervention. So in ELA, we follow the Heritage program, the 95% group, amplify intervention. We do also have a small group intervention. So with this, we make sure that the students are tested on a weekly or bi-weekly basis to see the areas of need. Therefore, once we find the areas of need, we support those students in a small group through different aspects, different ways, whether it's in the classroom, or we also pull them with our primary promise teacher assistant to support them in ELA. Same thing for math. We have the program Transfer Kids. We follow Kagan strategic groups, and this is for both ELA and math, and also the Eureka mid-module assessment regrouping, which is also, again, an opportunity for us to pull the students and be more specific in regards to the areas of need, tailor the lessons for those students so they could close the learning gap and also learn the areas where they are in need. Next slide, please. So for teachers, we follow, and this is just an example, we have the default item analysis tool. So basically we meet on a bi-weekly basis with our teachers. They look at the students who are well below benchmark standard, below benchmark, also at benchmark and above standard. So again, the goal is for our teachers to look at those students who are below, well below and below, and to create those strategies, create a small group, support those students with a specific standards, a specific needs that they have to make sure that they reach at least benchmark, and in the best case scenario, above standard. Next slide. So, so then we continue with this tool, write the names of the students, and then we use this as a guide for the teacher, for us in administration to follow specific students to ensure that they receive the appropriate intervention. Another part that is important to mention is that we also have after school intervention, and it's targeted. So we are about to finish this week with the first cycle. Next week, we're gonna start with another cycle where we're gonna be focusing for 3 weeks in ELA. Once we finish that cycle, we'll move into math and then ELD. So again, it's very targeted and it's very structured to support our students in their learning. Next slide. So again, as I mentioned earlier, that's the after school intervention. So these are some of the tools that we utilize to ensure that the students are able to achieve their goals based on the subject area. I welcome parents to visit Commonwealth Elementary School, and definitely we do also have the magnet program to support our students who also have intervention classes, and they do have chess program. We also have a robotics program. So that's you know how we support students in all areas. Next slide. So that's pretty much it for Commonwealth Elementary School. Thank you, Dr. Smith, for the invitation, and we look forward to see any parents who might be interested in learning about Commonwealth. You're welcome to join us whenever.
Thank you, Mr. Ortiz. Thank you for taking the time out to share some of your intervention practices at the Commonwealth Elementary School. We appreciate your presence with us this evening. At this time, we'll talk about safe steps to safe schools, and we'll talk about how we're continuing to ensure safety for all of our students, staff, and community members. Next slide. As you know, we continue with our weekly testing at all of our schools and LAUSD. So our students and our faculty members are continuing to test within their school sites. And I know that there's been some questions regarding masking and whether we are still allowing masking, but please know that our district is continuing to follow the health and safety guidelines, and we are continuing to, it is optional that students wear their mask outdoors, but indoors, however, we are still wearing our masks. We want to help ensure that all of our students and staff are safe at all times. And so we think at this time, it's still asking that all students are required to wear their mask indoors until further notice. And we still request that everyone is wearing a mask with the surgical, with the nose wiring above their nose as well. We know that vaccinations remain key, right? As we prepare for fall 2022, we ask that all students take advantage of the vaccinations that are available for them. We are, as of right now, requiring all students 12 and older. However, we do know that vaccinations are available for students 5 and older. There will be a vaccination site coming soon to your local elementary schools. Actually, Union Avenue Elementary School within the MacArthur Park Community of Schools will be one of our first elementary schools to host a vaccination clinic on their campus next week. Please look forward to that information. It will be coming to you soon. And we will continue to use our daily pass each and every day to help, ensure that all students are safe. Next slide, please. As we speak about vaccinations, so there are some operations for vaccinations Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Evans Adult Center and Maya Angelou. So these are some sites in which we could take advantage of vaccinations. And you'll see that, the chart, you got to follow the little button, the little dots. The yellow dot indicates on Monday at Maya Angelou, Tuesday at Evans and Maya Angelou, and Evans the remainder of the week within local district central. Next slide. as well as our walk-up sites for non-appointments are necessary for our COVID-19 testing. We still have COVID-19 testing at Evans and Carver's Middle School, but keep in mind, symptomatic testing will only happen at Clinton Middle School at this time. And that's from 7:15 to 4:30 p.m. daily. Next slide. At this time, we're going to go over some instructional updates where we give you some advice and recommendations, suggestions on how to continue to engage and support the homeschool connection within the MacArthur Park Community Schools. At this time, I invite our instructional coordinator, Mr. An, to join us. Mr. An, the floor is yours.
Good evening, parents. Thank you all for being here. My name is Tim An. I'm the instruction coordinator, proudly serving MacArthur Park Community Schools. Next slide, please. So it is testing season. We have the summative tests coming up. We also have the SATs coming up, and we also have the AP exams coming up. So one of the ways to support your child in taking the test is to ensure that you talk to your child as to what support they might need. Secondly, I would strongly encourage you to talk to the teachers to see what support you might be able to provide and what materials they might have so that you could prepare your child to take that test and be successful. Always stay calm and upbeat as your child looks up to you. And most importantly, encourage your child to do well. This is a quote I took from one of the authors of Test Taking Tips is being proactive really beats being reactive. Always talk to your children's teachers, always talk to their principals and the staff to see what support you might be able to provide. Next slide, please. So through the innovation grant, which is a grant provided by LAUSD, we were able to build 3 different grants that are really spearheading the alignment to standard and also building that warm demanding space or that welcoming space into our class, and also providing support for our English learners. Pathway to Proficiencies and Beyond is focused on aligning our teachers' planning to the standards and also to the rigor that our students are required to do. And while secondary phonemic awareness is really about supporting our English learners. At this point in time, I would like to invite Ms. Tricia Lutero-Ferris to talk about building relationships through warm demander pedagogy. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. An, for the welcome to talk about our innovation grants. One of the grants that I have been spearheading at MacArthur Park Community Schools is the Building Relationships Through Warm Demander Pedagogy. With the innovation grant, we've had the amazing opportunity to dream for a system that values equity, liberation, healing, socio-emotional learning, and culturally responsive practices. MacArthur Park, home to 18 schools, pre-K to 12th grade, and around 6,800 students, 40% of whom are English language learners, deserve a system that allows for collective healing for all in our community. The framework we reference is the Warm Demander framework that asks that we dream big, build trust, teach self-discipline, and embrace failure. By introducing this equity-centered pedagogy into our instructional practices, we are cultivating much-needed spaces for healing and academic reconciliation. We envision this project to be a trainer of the trainer model, where the teachers who attend the trainings be the lead on the campuses for the important work ahead. So far, we've completed 3 trainings on an introduction to warm demander pedagogy, restorative practices, and culturally responsive socio-emotional learning. Our next 2 trainings will focus on educator socio-emotional learning and socio-emotional learning and instruction. Schools are receiving a stipend to create warm and inviting spaces that are reflective of students' needs and experiences. And we're really excited to share this work as the semester continues, and hopefully be able to continue the work beyond the semester throughout the next year. Thank you so much. And I'd like to introduce our A through G advisor, Victoria Rodriguez, for more updates.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome, families. Thank you for being with us here tonight.
Go ahead and go to the next slide, please. So I'm going to take a few minutes to just check in with you about some important college updates. Next slide, please. So one thing that we've created this semester in our MacArthur Park newsletter are these steps for every grade level, because it is never too early to discuss college and a student's future. So what we've been doing is creating activities that families can do with their students by grade level every month in the goal of preparing them for college and career success. So we know that elementary schools over the past couple of weeks have been celebrating Read Across America. So our recommendation to families this month for elementary school students is to visit their local or school library and check out a book about the career that they're interested in, and share that information that they learned with somebody at home or somebody at school. For our 6th through 8th graders, we want them to start thinking about majors. We've asked them in the past couple of months to research colleges that they might be interested in, and now they kind of have an idea of what career they want to pursue. And now we want them to make the connection between their future career and what they might study in college. For our 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, while we are in the middle of spring semester, we know that our schools are also getting ready for next year. So that means that all of our 9th, 10th, and 11th graders should be meeting with their academic counselors on their campuses to start discussing their plans for the summer and the plans for next year. So make sure you're checking in with your student to see if they have had that one-on-one meeting with their counselor yet, and make sure you're looking out for those campus parent meetings that should be coming up over the next couple of months. For our seniors, it's even more exciting news for them because they've finished up applying for financial aid, and all of those amazing college acceptances are coming in. Our community college students are finalizing their plans, and they're really in the middle of spring semester trying to figure out what their next step is going to be next semester. So make sure if you have a senior student, you are checking in on their grades, you're checking in on their portals, and you're making sure that they're keeping up with any requests that the campuses they're interested in are sending to them via email. Next slide, please. We are also very, very excited to be able to bring the parent workshop series to the MacArthur Park community of schools this past semester. In February, we had a presentation on understanding college funding and the financial aid process. And our goal for these parent workshops has been to really break it down: elementary, middle school, high school. What can parents, families do right now to get our students prepared? So when I'm done presenting, I'm going to drop the links in the chat for all of these slides and this information, because they're very invaluable resources about scholarships, and also just how to have conversations with your students about what their goals are for the future. Our March 8th presentation was about making the college decision and preparing for the transition, which is really a family transition. So in this PowerPoint slide presentation that we have for you to reference, there's a lot of questions that you can discuss with your students, again, at any grade level, to kind of start thinking about what their future might look like. Again, all of the slides are translated in Spanish also, so please make sure you take a look at them. And then we also invite you to our March 22nd presentation, Options After Graduation, Community College and Trade Schools. So again, maybe our students want to take a different path. They have different career goals and they want to pursue maybe a more skilled trade. We have more information for them that we're going to be sharing with families next Tuesday. And the next slide is the actual flyer presentation. So again, we're going to drop this link in the chat so you can save it. And let me ask to go to the next slide, please. So kind of just closing our college and career updates with our seniors. Again, it is a very exciting time during spring. Everything is kind of moving quickly. We want to make sure that we've completed our financial aid application. Most of our seniors in the MacArthur Park COS have. We are working with our students who still need to finish some loose ends. Make sure that you're reaching out to your academic counselor on your campus if you need support with that. And then again, make sure that you are following up with your grades, you're on track with everything, and you're making sure you're asking for help if you're not quite understanding the financial aid or the decision process. Thank you, everyone. And I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Ms. Gutierrez, our school mental health consultant.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here today. Can we go to the next slide, please? As you heard earlier, March is Social Workers Month, and I would like to take the time to be able to speak about the positive impact and the amazing work that our social workers in LAUSD and our MacArthur Park COS are contributing to our school communities. The theme for Social Work Month for 2022 this year is "The Time is Right for Social Work." So let's take some time to learn a little bit about this profession and the resources and services that they provide to your students. Next slide. School-based social workers provide a multi-tiered approach when supporting their school communities. This approach allows them to be able to address the various mental health and social emotional needs presented by our students and the various stakeholders in our school communities. Tier 1, also known as universal services, includes trauma-informed focused services that provide interventions in promoting mental health and social emotional wellness to our school communities. And this is accomplished by a series of activities and tasks. And some examples listed here may include school-wide campaigns. In our high schools, for example, they're doing campaigns around suicide prevention, substance use, healthy relationships. We see campaigns in our elementaries around the topics of bullying and kindness week. And we also like to be able to offer supports to our parents. And so parents do receive a lot of psychoeducation and workshops, as well as information through a variety of meetings such as Coffee with the Principal. There's also training provided to teachers and staff. And our PSWs, psychiatric social workers, also collaborate with various school stakeholders to really invest and contribute towards building that positive culture and school climate around practices with social emotional learning and restorative practices. Our Tier 2 services, also known as targeted, are implemented so that we're able to truly identify students that present particular needs, and they are able to get support through social work and mental health services that include evidence-based practices implemented through individual and group counseling, classroom interventions, working with whole classrooms and teachers, working with a variety of community agencies and LUSD partnerships in order to really create that resource coordination and provide referral linkage to fulfill not only mental health, but any needs that our students and their families present, as well as provide mental health consultation with parents, teachers, and staff. Lastly, our Tier 3 intensive services include those interventions where they are now working with our higher needs students, providing that case management, individual counseling, crisis support around suicide and threat risk assessments, addressing school-wide or community-related crises as well, and supporting those efforts, safety planning, and of course, monitoring. Next slide. And so I would like to offer you the opportunity to be proactive, as my colleague, Mr. On, mentioned earlier, and get to know your school psychiatric social worker, or PSW in short. And here we are offering you the contact information for your respective PSW in your school setting. If you do not see a PSW listed for your school site, no need to worry. I am here available to also offer and provide support to your school community or to answer any questions you may personally have about the social, emotional, and mental health needs of your student and your child. I invite you to take a picture of this screen. We have also placed the link in the chat where you can access this information for your own reference. I'll give you a minute if you would like to take note or a picture of this information. Okay, can we move on to the next slide? And lastly, I am very happy and proud to announce that myself and my mental health consultant colleagues from Local District Central are excited about offering a series of mental health workshops for our parents and our community members. There will be a workshop per month, And our next upcoming workshop will be taking place next week, Friday, March 25th at 9 a.m. on the topic of regulating emotions at home. We hope that you can join us, and we invite you to form a part and increase your knowledge and your own toolbox as you navigate this fun world of parenting. And now I will pass it on to our amazing Community of Schools Administrator, Dr. Smith.
Thank you, Gisela. I really appreciate it. Amazing information. We have so many amazing resources for our parents and our families. Please take advantage of it. As we mentioned before in the chat, all of the contact information is there for you to engage. Next slide. I do want to remind us that our board member Garcia, will be hosting Changing Conversations with special guest, Honorable Karen Bass, our Congress member, on tomorrow, March 16th from 5 to 7. So mark your calendars. There's a bit.ly link there. The bit.ly link will be placed in the chat for your information. Please register and hear the conversation that will be happening about advancing leadership or educational justice and Changing Conversation with Board Member Garcia. Next slide. Also, we have our parent partner workshops that are happening, the series of workshops that are happening 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Tuesdays. We have one today on suicide prevention. So please tune in. They're ongoing all the way into May 3rd is our last one. So Tuesday mornings from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Parents, please log in as we partner with the Department of Mental Health to provide additional workshops. We've heard you reach out and say that we want to know more about social emotional support. How do we support our families? How do we support our students? And so this is an avenue in which we want to continue to partner to answer the call and make sure that we're doing everything possible to support you, our family, our students in MacArthur Park. Next slide. At this time, I'm going to invite Ms. Rodriguez back as she give you a snippet of some of the information that's been shared on parent engagement and transparency in the budgeting process. Ms. Rodriguez, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. Good evening again. Go ahead and go to the next slide, please. So again, the budgeting process and community support is super important, right? We have to make sure that we that schools know exactly what resources parents want for their students and for their communities. And so we have the next set of presentations coming up. As you can see, if you can take a snapshot of this image, you see there's going to be 2 Title I meetings coming up tomorrow and then in May, along with your Title I Spring Parent Conferences on Saturday. And we will have more information on our website to be able to attend those. And we can go to the next slide.
I do apologize, Ms. Rodriguez. I believe those are Ms. Adaguin's slides, but I will cover that information. I do apologize. Can we go back one slide? My apologies. I think you're going to introduce Ms. Adaguin. Ms. Adaguin, these are your slides. I do appreciate it. My apologies, Ms. Rodriguez. I welcome the fabulous and amazing Ms. Teresa Adaguin, our parent and community engagement administrator. Ms. Adaguin, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. I appreciate it. So families, I just wanted to call attention to all the different opportunities you have to engage, both with our community schools level and then also at our local district. So we have sessions. We've just concluded our LCAP session, but we continue to have additional trainings on how to support our English language learners. We have an upcoming Title I conference, and then we have our weekly Tech Talks and more. On the side, you'll see that in our community of schools, we have done lots of work around our local control accountability plan. And then again, things like what we have today, our town halls, where you get up-to-date informational pieces from your community of schools. We invite you to continue to engage. In addition, at this time, we're in the middle of budget development. So you'll be seeing a consultation meeting that's coming up if you haven't already had it at your school. But it's a time to give feedback at your school, to look at budgets, how those are developed, and certainly how you can give feedback. Your voice is important to us. Next slide. Sure. So here you'll see the process. So you've probably already experienced some of it. And for those of you that are already part of School Site Council or our English Learner Advisory Committee, thank you for your support that you provide our schools. Also, we have our local school leadership committee. And as I mentioned, each school is doing an annual school goals and budget consultation meeting. So that's a really long name, but basically it's a place where you're going to meet with your principals and learn more about all the possibilities around your budget and how you can engage. This year we have different buckets, different opportunities. We have additional funds called the ELOS funds, SRSENI. So there's many ways to give feedback. We've just come back with so much from during this pandemic and the difference in learning that we've had and what challenges we might be facing. So your voice is very important, more than ever before. Give us your feedback, engage with us, and connect as partners in your child's education. Give us the perspective of the parent view and what you feel you might need for your school community. So with that, next slide. Again, I mentioned about the annual school goals and budget consultation meeting. Some schools are doing more than one opportunity. You'll be hearing more about this because this is a new requirement for us to continue to expand our transparent budget process. And again, if you have not already had a chance to join and you see a notification from your school, this meeting is for all the budgets that we share with our families. And again, an important time to hear that feedback from our stakeholders. One more. Next slide. And with that, I hand it back to Dr. Smith. Dr. Smith, take it away. We're in our Q&A session.
All right. Thank you to all of our special guests and our presenters this evening. And this is a time for question and answers. It looks like many of our questions have been answered already in our Q&A queue. I do have our operations coordinator and our administrator of operations with us. I'm just going to ask and see if there's anything that we may have missed this evening that you would like to share before we bring our evening to a close. Mr. Cortez or Mr. Sines, is there any additional information we may have missed this evening that you would like to share?
Thank you, Dr. Smith. You actually covered everything. You did a pretty good job covering all of the safety components. So thank you for sharing that with our community. And thank you for allowing us to be part of your meeting.
No, thank you for being with us this evening. We appreciate your leadership and your support as you help keep all of our schools safe. I know that we've been working in collaboration just to take care of MacArthur Park, as well as all the schools in Local District Central. So again, thank you, Mr. Sines. Thank you, Mr. Cortez. Again, that concludes our meeting this evening. However, there are a couple more things I want to share. Next slide. Please remember to mark your calendars and log in our number in your phones. Our new phone number, this is last month, we introduced it because we had just gotten it right before our town hall. Our phone number is 213-302-3001. That's 213-302-3001. 302-3001. Please call our office. We want to hear from you. You can also use the QR code, put your phone against the screen, and you could visit our website. All of our latest information will always be there. Please follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, as you will see all the happenings in the MacArthur Park Communities and Schools. Next slide. Perfect timing. And please join us at our next town hall right after spring break, April 19th. That's Tuesday, April 19th at 5 p.m. Same channel, same station, same Zoom code, 807-3040-8690. Please join us at our next town hall in the month of April. Next slide. And again, all of our information for all of the MacArthur Park Communities of Schools team, you have all of our email addresses there. Take a picture of the screen if you like. You can also visit us in our latest newsletter. Download all of this information there, as well as our website. We can never communicate too much. We want to make sure you have all the information and resources at a fingertip to support you on your journey to ensure the academic success of our students and our youth. Till next time, I want to remind you that Dr. Smith loves you and there's nothing you can do about it. Have a wonderful evening and a great week, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.